He's the GOAT at featherweight. Main training partner, Colby Thicknesse. We've got him here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event.
Live from HBF Stadium Festival Hall. Melbourne Pavilion.
Not even backstage, we're literally outside. Was that the best fight card in Australian MMA history?
Call me crazy, but make sure you call me when I'm right.
Be good if the Aussie MMA Instagram page would give us a bit of glow up because...
Welcome to the Australian MMA podcast. My name is Mitchell Tinley, and today's guest is none other than Colby Thicknesse. He's been around for a very long time in the Australian regional scene. Started training as a young kid alongside a no-name Alex Volkanovski, and as he has sort of taken on and conquered the world, Colby has sort of trailed just slightly behind him. He's finally in the UFC now. He recently fought in Sydney against Ilia Topuria's brother. Unfortunately went down via decision, but it was a nice display for a short notice matchup for Colby Thicknesse, and he now gets his second opportunity against Josia Musasa, who, that was totally butchered, but he's known as a KO wizard. You know, he's got plenty of knockouts on his resume, and yeah, Colby Thicknesse it's a nice matchup. It's definitely winnable for young Colby, but more impressively is we're going to get to see sort of hopefully the real Colby Thicknesse out there and see how he performs when the UFC returns to Perth September 28th. You of course can see it on UFC Fight Pass. We chat some Aussie regional scene. You know, we always touch on Emerhan, Hekimoglu, the viral Renato Subotic clip that popped up. Look, it's always good to sort of touch on the Aussie regional scene. I love Colby. He's always good for news headlines. But of course, we dive into what it's like sort of getting ready for a UFC fight now that it's his second, and what it's like being coached by Joe Lopez, Alex Volkanovski, and all those guys. So, guys, without further ado, make sure you head on over to VEX MMA as well. Go to their Instagram page. There's a link as well. I'll probably chuck it down somewhere for a giveaway worth just under $5,000 that will culminate in time around when the UFC may or may not be in Perth. So try and figure that out legally. But yeah, go enter and you could win. I think you get to meet the likes of Jake Matthews and Colby Thicknesse as well. So it could be it could be super fun. But look, shout out to sponsors too, gym partners, DCA, and Combat Sports Insurance as well. If you need insurance for gyms, events, whatever it is, check them out. And yeah, it's Colby Thicknesse. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, the king of autism, Colby Thicknesse. Mate, welcome.
Welcome.
What's the scorecard? You up or who's winning?
Between me and you.
Autism.
Oh, I'm down. I'm like Tony Ferguson streak right now. Take away his last boxing fight.
Mate, gearing up for another big fight against, look, I mean, speaking of autism, his name is Josia Musasa, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that
Basically.
good?
Yeah.
KO wizard, mate. You've been hit in the head a couple times. Does that scare you at all?
Not really, because 1 second. Oh, there we go. Sorry, someone tried to call me. How rude, mid-interview.
Rude.
From my phone or D&D.
Was there anyone important?
Nah.
Yeah.
They're going to watch this thing and have to figure out if I was talking about them or not.
Yeah, man. He's a KO wizard. Have you watched much of his stuff?
I have. I've watched his last 2 fights, his contender in UFC, and I think that it's cool of a nickname and everything, but realistically, the last 2 times he's fought good opposition, he won like a controversial split decision, or he got head kicked and choked out. So I don't read too much into sort of what happens in them scenes.
Does that mean that you are also not that slick?
No, not necessarily, because even though I lost my debut, I lost in a lot more fashionable style than getting dropped and choked out in the first round.
Would you rather lose this wasn't your fight, but would you rather take like an absolute beating for 3 rounds but make it, or get like finished in the first round?
Oh, that's hard, because if you get beaten for 15 minutes, all right, you're tough, but everybody in the UFC is tough. There's nobody in the UFC who isn't tough. And I guess if you get clipped early, it's just anything happens in small gloves. But I don't know, something about me is I've got rocked and dropped plenty of times. I just don't think I ever really want to get finished.
Yeah. Are you sometimes surprised you made it to the UFC with how many, like, because you had some real, like, scary concussion issues?
I think so. Like, not that I think so about the concussion issues, but like, I think it was bad at one stage, but it was just because I think it just was a series of unfortunate events. Like, it was just training, injuries, and then a fight. So I've only ever been concussed in 2 fights, which out of like 17 fights isn't actually that bad for most people. And both times I still managed to win with a concussion. It was just more of a trading side of things, like just going a bit too hard or I probably shouldn't have, and then just things like that can happen.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, training with Volk's probably not good for your health.
Yeah. To be fair, he's only been one of my concussions though. He's only been one. He's also been my broken back and my broken ribs. But
Yeah.
one concussion. He's spread the love.
And how, like, when did you start sparring? Because you trained really early, but did you start getting hit in the head at like 12, 13?
I think I would have started sparring hard when I would have been. That's a good question, actually. Maybe when I was like 16, 17, I reckon. Before that, we do the kickboxing technique on the Monday and Wednesday nights, but that's very minimal contact. It's like speed, but like you get yelled at if you punch too hard in them sort of classes. So it was lots of light sparring when I first started, but I would say like more like the fight specific hard sparring, which is around 80%, 80, yeah, probably 90% sometimes if you get a bit carried away with it. Wasn't until I sort of actually really thought I'm going to try this MMA thing. So I was around like just 16, 17 age.
Would you do it differently if you had to do it again?
Nah, not really. Like I've only ever been concussed once in sparring. Even like the other time, like it was with Justin Van Heeden, and we're doing a drill. We're both on fight week on a Monday morning, and like the drill was he's gonna mimic. This is when I'm meant to fight Jarrett, which is funny how it all happened. And then he was meant to mimic Jarrett for 3 rounds, and I was gonna work my game. Then I was gonna mimic I think Philpott, who was gonna fight, and then there was a miscommunication. Like we both thought it was our turn to attack for like the first minute. I was like, "Fuck, this dude's not giving me any good looks of Jared. What is he doing?" I'm like, "I'm just going to shoot it in and take him down." But we must have both thought the same thing because we both shot at the same time and just boom, just head clash. That was the worst one actually.
Wow. And
Yeah.
you got finished by Justin too.
No,
Like
he
that.
went to the hospital to get his head stitched. So I finished the training session. It was when I was driving home and I started throwing up outside of my car. I'm like, something's wrong here. I don't feel great.
Yeah, they're the best ones. I do remember getting head kicked once, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's a hard shot, but you go, oh, I don't really know what a concussion is, and you just kind of keep going. And
Yeah.
it's always when you get in the car,
Oh.
and then you take that second, and then you're like, and you start throwing up. You're like, no,
Yeah.
no, this is it.
Bad. Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. How's the team going? I mean, you got plenty of guys dropping in and out. I think Malaki was there a little bit. How is it all?
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, Malaki's pretty much down here full time now. So he's got a place legit the street behind the gym. So he goes up to Central Coast now and then, but probably like 90% of his camp's been down here. So obviously it's good with the same boys. We've got Trent Gurdon coming down a lot as well, which is a great southpaw look for me, especially for this fight. And we just got all the usuals. We've got Volk, he's about to jump into camp soon, so he'll bring the boys over with him. And then you got Casey, Lockjaw, Mina, everybody's sort of putting in the work, and it's been a fairly active year for everybody, so it's been good.
Now, not to stir the pot, but fight camp, mate. Joe Lopez off partying at CGI. Well,
Yes.
CGI. What's like? Is that? I mean, I'm imagining it's not an issue. Like he needs, to do other things as well. But like, as a fighter who's not Volk, are you like, hey, Joe, what's going on?
Say if this was like the Taporia situation where it got caught in 12 days and he's like, oh, sorry, I'm out partying, I might be a bit more worried. But the contract for this fight was signed in like July, but I got this name given to me at like, I think end of May or start of June. So I've had so much time for this. So it wasn't like a good thing that it was gone, but it was almost like not necessarily a deload, but there wasn't like so much high work rate in that, whereas I could sort of do my own thing because like realistically, as soon as you even though you're not in camp since June, if you know you're fighting in Perth against a good guy, you're gonna ramp your intensity up. So it's almost like a little bit of like a forced deload, which I actually timed pretty well coming into the back end of camp.
Who ends up being like how every team almost has like a team captain that sort of takes over as like the assistant coach. Who seems to be that for freestyle?
Normally Volk, but if Volk's not there, it's normally me.
So was it you coaching you?
No, Volk was there for most of it.
Okay.
He was doing a bit of Street Fighter, so there was a couple sessions he weren't there. But like I said, because of time, it hasn't been too bad. Like I've had the same sort of game plan and strategies and tactics. So like the stuff I've been drilling for this fight last night on Monday was probably the same stuff I was drilling last night 6 weeks ago on Monday. So it's not too different.
So it doesn't bother you when you're like, oh, I need this hard sparring session for my second UFC fight, and Volk's like, sorry, mate, I got to go film myself cooking a steak on a rock outside. And you're like, come
Well,
on.
to be fair, if we go about the injury list, it's probably a good thing he stays away from me. That's what happened with the Emerhan fight. That's why I had to pull out of that one. I got kneed by Volk, and he just shattered my ribs. Like it wasn't really my fault. I guess it was like my fault because I was so skinny, so I had like no bones. And he threw a knee like vertical, trying to like go gentle, but it like came under my ribs, and just when his knee came down, all my ribs came out with it. It was not pleasant.
Classic. And UFC fans will be watching this would have no idea who Emerhan Hekimoglu is. But when you fought him on the regional scenes, he was basically this like mountains guy that was like Colby Covington times 10.
Yes.
And yeah, look, just absolute chaos. Called you Colby Thicknesse. Had a live chicken at the weigh-ins. It was great stuff. Now, he's clearly juiced to the gills.
Yes.
Did you watch his fight with Jet Fisher?
Yes, I did. I was down there. I definitely saw all the like. I'm not anybody can do whatever you want to do with like the rudes and things like that. But I think when you're doing it and you're doing a sport where the goal is to inflict harm on another person, I think that's where it's a pretty shitty thing to do. And I know obviously he's gonna deny it, but you don't get from a bantamweight to what he weighed almost like a lightweight at weigh-ins, and then the back acne and just blew up in size. Like I understand if like old mate goes to the gym, he wants to get big in that, like fair play. But as soon as you start doing it in a sporting aspect, especially when the goal is to hurt or injure someone in that sport, and you take something which is illegal firstly, then it's illegal in the sport as well. I think that's a pretty scummy thing to do.
And that wasn't the only man you got into issues with. I did not know that you and Mr. Renato Subotic was going to be such an issue. That really blew up, didn't it?
Like 1.3k shares or something. Eh? Wild.
Like, look, and I had a bit of back and forth for people who don't know Renato Subotic as well. He's a bit of like, he's an MMA coach here, but also like an online sort of personality as well. He's got like 500,000 followers. Fair play to him. And he does a lot of technique videos and whatnot. And you called him out a bit for being a bit of a, what you implied was a snake in the grass, and coming to a camp, a freestyle camp, and then basically going on Fox Sports and saying what he was going to do. Hey, I need to clarify something because he sent me the video. It looks like he's just a body with Elvis Sinisic. It looks like is that the one you're talking about?
I'm not sure, to be honest. There's been a few.
All right. Because he sent me one. I was like, well, he doesn't look like he's doing that much wrong either. But no, either way, not to rehash it, mate, but like, what was the fallout from that? Obviously you're in the UFC now, you're a bigger name. Is it weird that when you speak now, and especially I clip it, that it creates such a storm?
No, like it made sense to me. Like I knew it was. That's why I was almost. Oh no, I was happy it happened because like we're backstage and we're in the locker room, and like after the last issue I ended up ringing him. We had a chat for like not a chat, like we was just trying to talk to like a narcissistic Italian brick wall. Like just there was nothing was getting through to him whatsoever. And so we're at the back and I'm like, he looks over at me and I'm like, oi, what's up? And then just nothing. And from there, he didn't look at me again. I was like, all right, so this shows what his real character is. And he sees me and you do an interview on a camera. He tries to start looking like he's a man. I'm like, dude, you're just fucking fake, bro. Which is probably why it went so viral, because everybody in this scene who's met him feels exactly the same way I feel about him. It's just I'm the first person to go be outspoken. I'd like his old ex-students message me and like, oh, this dude's like a fucking dog. Like people high up in like won championships, or the like people are messaging like, oh, about time somebody exposed him for how as he really is.
It's interesting because when a guy like you, and then I think even Josh Coolabell was in the comments, you're two of the like most liked guys in the sport. So when you say it, there's an issue.
Yeah. Like he would have responded, but he's still writing with parts of his ChatGPT jail story. So once that's done, we might get a response from him.
So I'll tell you what, if you're a UFC fan, you don't know much about the Australian regional scene. It's very spicy. It's a good scene. Now, mate, let's talk about your fight. Obviously, UFC Fight Night coming up in Perth. You don't want to go 0-2 in your UFC career. Do you feel a bit of pressure?
I guess I feel pressure in the sense that I am coming off my first professional loss, but it's not my first loss overall. I lost as an amateur, which people might say, oh, amateur is different to pro, but the way I've approached my career, I've been a pro since I started fighting. So like losing as an amateur or losing as a pro is no different to me. Like I hate losing more than I like winning. is the easiest way to put it. Is I absolutely despise losing completely, sort of thing. So as much as there's the external pressure of going on to who knows what they might do with your contract, it's not, and everything like that, the amount of external pressure there is compared to what I put on myself, which isn't a bad thing. I just need to, it's how I operate at my best when I put all the stakes on me. So I don't think anything externally will change because I use all the fuel, the motivation from the pressure on me. But as soon as it's in there 15 minutes, it's completely shut off from the outside world. It's purely for my performance.
And you've talked about this before, but does any of the Volk shine bother you at any stage? Because it does get brought up a lot. I would imagine 90% of your interviews he gets brought up. Like, is there a little bit of you that's like, man, I want to sort of carve out my own career?
Nah, like it's like I think I've told you this before. Like it's like being compared to like the Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant of like your sport. Like realistically, like there's much worse people you could be brought up in conversations with. Like if you brought up like a Colby Thicknesse or some random journeyman, you're like, oh, like why are you talking about him? Like let me do my own thing. But like I think it is cool because like I was a young kid looking up to this dude, and now I'm able to follow his path and I'm able to go about and make my own journey. And like realistically, I wouldn't be here without him purely through the training, the coaching, the knowledge, and everything like that. So even if people don't bring it up, I will still bring it up. I'm gonna have a belt one day. And I'm like, yeah, I copied my teammate Volk. I just followed his footsteps. I'll bring it up to him.
Or you do that, just even in the post-fight interview, but like, yeah. But Volk's real good. Like,
Yeah.
don't forget about him. Now,
Yeah.
have you noticed? I mean, you do a lot of coaching. I mean, people don't even see how much sort of time you give back to the sport. But is there a young Colby Thicknesse coming up that you've seen that's maybe like 9, 10, maybe 13?
We've got one at the gym. This little kid, Dimmy. I think he's younger. I think he's probably 8, maybe. And like, he's a little freak. Like, he'll throw like 4-punch combos, cut angles, throw him up. Like, he's cute. He's 8, but I'm like, he spars because he doesn't throw hard, but he's so good at putting his body weight behind the punches. Even when he spars big kids, I've had to stop him from sparring before. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, what you're doing is so technically good. The kids have no idea, and you're throwing 3-piece combos, and you're shifting your hips and your body, and these kids are like, and they just start crying and things like that. So he's a little weapon. He does the jits comps and everything. So he's probably gonna be the next super young one to look out for out of the gym.
He's probably like your size 2A, so he's probably a body for your.
No, he's bigger than me already.
Yeah. Now, mate, how's this fight go down September 28th?
I always say, ideally, I walk out, I jab him before it's over, but that still hasn't happened. But one day I might be able to manifest that. So if that doesn't happen, we got Plan B, and Plans B is to obviously like if you watch this fight, you know what he's going to do. He's going to come out, throw big ones, big twos, big hooks, and things like that. Throws hard low kicks. Doesn't really try to feint or fake too much. He's just going to stay in my face and try to basically knock me out, as his nickname implies. So it's just going to be about keeping the range, mixing up the looks on him, and I think. What I'm excited for this fight is if you watched my previous fights, then you watch Mike Tapora fight, you're like, oh, it's a dangerous matchup. You see how he flinches up against the cage and everything like that when he gets pressure. This is where Josia is going to try to put him. I think having so long with this opponent and so long since my last fight, I was able to crease out all of them little wrinkles which got exposed on a bigger stage. So to be honest, I haven't really thought too much about victory in that sense. It's more just going out and just fighting my fight and just thinking of it more as like a performance and my proper sort of UFC debut with a full camp and everything like that.
Awesome. Right, Mr. Thicknesse, thank you for taking the time, and I'm sure we'll stir up some shit come fight week.
I can't wait for that. Appreciate it, Roa.